So over the past few days, I've been doing a lot of thinking on whether or not there would be a Nintendo Direct this month, because if you look at Nintendo's history, as we always like to do on this channel, looking at patterns, they basically always have a June Direct. The only notable exception to that would be 2020. There have been some years where it's a partner showcase, but it has remained true that there is basically always a June Nintendo Direct. Now, we did kind of get one last week with the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. However, we're talking like a full third-party showcase, first-party showcase, kind of like big multi-game showcase Nintendo Direct, and it seems like we're not getting one. But I made this poll back on a Sunday: do you think there will be a Nintendo Direct this week, as we're running down the days of June? And the majority of people said no, 29% of people said yes, and then a measly 18.6% of people said Nintendo Today news. And the reason I did this poll was because I just wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure if the vibes were there for there to be a Direct this week. However, I was pretty confident we would get something, and actually it's funny looking at my tweet here. I literally say, I think regardless we'll get something like a Prime 4 date or Dragon Drive, lol. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we're talking about today. We got a release date for Dragon Drive finally, this weird new IP from Nintendo. We're going to talk about the release date for that, what it means for Nintendo's 2025 lineup in a greater sense, and whether or not there's still any hope for some sort of Nintendo Direct in the next couple of weeks, perhaps. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 discussion and theories and speculation, all that fun stuff, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope you had a great weekend. It's been a couple of days since I uploaded, but to be honest, it was because I've just been really busy playing Mario Kart World. If I'm being real with you, it's because I've been playing a lot of Mario Karts, and I was prioritizing that over videos. But really, it's just been a quiet time for Nintendo, as we've been maybe ramping up for some sort of Nintendo Direct, though I think at this point, it's pretty clear what Nintendo is doing with their announcements over the summer. So earlier this morning on the Nintendo Today app, they finally confirmed a release date for Dragon Drive, this wheelchair basketball game. It's releasing on Thursday, August 14th. That is exactly 2 weeks before the Kirby and the Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 edition plus the Star-Crossed World content. So we now have 2 games for August. What's weird is they didn't really do like a new trailer. It's like a 30-second thing that you can only view on Nintendo Today. It doesn't reveal any new information about the game. So seemingly there's just not much more to it. I was hopeful that there would be at least another like basketball court or something. I played this game back in April, and I was very critical of it. People definitely did not like my preview of it because I was so critical of it. This game is not good. I will say that. Unless they are hiding a lot of stuff from us, it is not good. What I played of it back in April was simply not fun to play. I appreciate Nintendo doing new IP. I appreciate mouse controls, but what they showed there in terms of how it controlled, the amount of content there, the visual identity of the game, basically no aspect of it is good. So we'll see. I mean, I want to go into it with an open mind. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to try this game out. I'll do a review of it over on the second channel. But the fact that they just released the, release dates and there was no other new information about the game with it, to me, that says there's nothing else to show with this game, and it is really just essentially a tech demo that they're putting on the eShop. It is going to be digital only. At the time of recording, we don't have pricing yet. There was this pop-up from GameStop when you search for the game. GameStop is showing it as $7.99. That would be ideal, because I don't think this game is going to have more content than Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which is $10. This game should be free. It should be included with NSO. Even with something like Kirby's Dream Buffet, which was an eShop-only, online-focused multiplayer game, the servers for that, a Kirby game, with an install base of over 100 million, even that was dead in a few weeks. You couldn't find players. I really can't even imagine how dead Dragon Drive servers will be after just a few days. So hopefully it's free. Like, really, that is the best case scenario. It should be included with Nintendo Switch Online memberships or something, but knowing Nintendo, it'll likely be like 20 or 30 bucks. We'll see what happens there. We should get another bigger trailer for it in the near future, I would think. Maybe that would be part of a Nintendo Direct. We need more information on the game, though, if there is anything else to it that we don't know about. I mean, we don't even know, like, progression or, like, if you level up from playing matches. Like, we really have no information on this game. So hopefully before August 14th, we see something about it that kind of wins me over. And it's like, okay, well, maybe this actually is a cool new IP, because this is our big new title for August, which is what I really want to focus on in today's video. The lineup for 2025 as we know it, and what I think is really happening here with Nintendo's announcements. We've talked a lot about this in the past couple of months, ever since they announced Nintendo Today, but it is clear to me now that we are not getting a Direct, at least not in the very near future. Certainly not a Direct that has first-party announcements. And I think we are seeing Nintendo double up each month. We've talked about this quite a bit on this channel, but if you look at the release calendar, June had Mario Kart World, it had Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Those were your two new titles, and then because it's the launch month, you get a little bit more. You also had the Switch 2 editions of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. In July, we're getting Bonanza, which is going to be a huge game. I cannot wait for Bonanza. Still thinking about it every day since that Bonanza Direct. What a great showcase of that game. But you also have a week later on July 24th, you have the Mario Party Jamboree TV Switch 2 edition update with new content that supports the camera and all that. So we're getting 2 games in the month of July. Now for August, and this is exactly when I predicted Dragon Drive would release, but now for August we have Dragon Drive, our new game, which isn't the most exciting thing, but it is a new release from Nintendo. We have Dragon Drive on August 14th and Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, I think it's August 27th or August 28th, something like that. So we're seeing a cadence of 2 games a month on average, and usually that holds true into the holidays. Usually we get 2 games, sometimes even 3 a month in September, October, and November. And considering it's the first year of Switch 2, I am more confident than ever now that Dragon Drive is August that we are going to see that happen, which means they still need to announce a couple of things if that is going to be the case. I think the next game we really need to lock in on and see, ideally, it's Metroid Prime 4. It could be something else we don't know about, maybe like a Yoshi's Woolly World, but I think September we're looking at Prime 4 or Woolly World, or maybe both. We need to see both of those games, especially Woolly World if it is coming out this year, if that leak in the April 2nd Direct was real, which I think it was. But I guess the question is, well, when do we see these things? If we're not getting a June Direct, when are they going to drop just a new trailer for Prime 4 with the release dates, maybe a special edition for the game? Metroid Dread had one, so there needs to be some sort of marketing blitz beginning for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. And then beyond that, once again, Woolly World, if that's happening, they need to announce that somewhere. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is coming out this year. We haven't really seen much of that, and we don't have a release date for it. Kirby Air Riders is coming out this year, and we literally don't have any gameplay for that release. But then we also have a major question mark of Splatoon Raiders. I mean, they didn't put a window on it when they announced it. Maybe that means it's further off. I still think it'd be really weird to announce that game if it wasn't coming out this year. Maybe it's early next year or something, but either way, we still need more information. They kind of just showed up, dropped that trailer, and said, peace out. We're not going to tell you anything else or elaborate on it. So there's a lot we still need to know. I mean, even Mario Kart World DLC, I think we're all in agreement. There has to be some sort of Mario Kart World DLC, particularly in regards to some sort of Bonanza tie-in content. If you played Mario Kart World and you've gone for all the costumes, you will know there's only one DK costume in the game. Each of the babies have like 6. There's just no way in my mind that there is not some sort of DK content updates coming to Mario Kart World. Maybe that's before Bonanza, maybe that's after, but the point is there's still a lot they need to talk about, just a lot of news that they need to share with us. However, while I would vastly prefer if it was in the form of a Nintendo Direct, I think the unfortunate reality is we're just going to get Nintendo Today updates for the entire summer, leading up to potentially a September Direct. I still think there's maybe a chance there's like a partner showcase in July or something. There was a whole rumor about a July Direct, I think from Beat 'em Up, so we'll get into that in just a little bit, but I think we are going to see every single week until probably PAX West, which is at the end of August, early September. We're going to get Nintendo Today updates once a week, maybe twice a week, that have release dates, game announcements, DLC drops throughout basically the entire summer. Because that's what they've been doing so far. For the entire month of June, we've had something pretty major every single week. The first week was the launch of the Switch 2 itself, of course. That wasn't really news, but it happens. The second week, we had Splatoon Raiders and the Splatoon 3 Switch 2 update announced. The third week, we had the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct, and now, just like clockwork, we have the Dragon Drive release date exactly a week later. So I would even go as far as to say it is extremely likely that maybe not even next week, maybe tomorrow, because it's still pretty early in the week, but tomorrow, next week, sometime within the next like 9 days or so, we're going to wake up, check Nintendo Today at 5 a.m., and we're going to see a Metroid Prime 4 release dates, or we're going to see the announcement of Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World Nintendo Switch 2 edition, or we're going to see a new content trailer for Mario Kart World. These things are going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and clearly Nintendo is trying to make Nintendo Today an actual app that people use. I will say for me, like, I was using it every day before the Switch 2 came out because every day they had something interesting, something mildly, kind of curious of like, oh, here's a 3D model of the Joy-Con 2 strap. It's like these things aren't really that important or frankly that interesting, but I don't know, leading up to the launch of the new console, it was hype seeing every day a little updates. Ever since then, I haven't been checking it because it's once a week. It's once a week we get something important. Every other day in between, nothing has really happened. So they want to make this app a thing, and I think we're really going to see them commit to it over the course of the next few weeks in July and August, with more updates on everything we have announced. And like I said, maybe even a few new announcements like Yoshi. Could we see some Mario 40th anniversary stuff in here? See, this is when we're talking about later into the summer, late August, early September. Back in 2020, we had that entire Mario Direct that announced 3D World and 3D All-Stars and Mario 35 and Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. What a Direct that was for Mario fans. I think a Mario Direct this year does make sense, to be honest, with the Mario Kart World DLC we're talking about, with the movie cast and trailer. I mean, we're getting close to that having to happen. I mean, that movie's coming out in less than a year. So we're going to see a trailer for it by the end of the year. A Mario Anniversary Direct makes a lot of sense. And then if we're talking about Nintendo doubling up on releases every month, I mean, here's my thing. If they're doubling up on releases in the summer, I think there's no reason to think they won't do that in the holiday period, so September through November. December will have one game, which I think is Kirby Air Riders. We've talked about that before, but if September is Metroid and Yoshi, we'll say, and October is Pokemon, and let's say Mario Wonder Switch 2 Edition, that leaves November for Hyrule Warriors and maybe Splatoon Raiders, or maybe there's something else smaller. Ring Fit Adventure 2, I think, is something that maybe is on the docket for this year. We saw that patent come out of a new Raycon, seemingly for the Switch 2. So I think there are more games to announce. It's just a matter of, well, when are they going to announce them? It's going to be very interesting seeing how Nintendo really integrates Nintendo Today into their marketing cycles for really every game, but also especially in how they handle directs moving forward. They've been very hit or miss over the past couple of years. I think a lot of us were under the assumption that was because of the Switch 2 not being out, right? They didn't have enough content to show a full fat Nintendo Direct. However, clearly that's not the case right now. There's so much they have to show. Splatoon Raiders was a big enough announcement to close a Nintendo Direct, in my opinion. Even if it is a spinoff, like that's still, it might as well be a core Splatoon game. Like, I know they're calling it a spinoff, but seemingly it's developed by the main Splatoon team. We don't know exactly what it is, but that game feels like a big deal, right? That game feels like a big deal. That could have closed a regular general Nintendo Direct. I mean, we've had Nintendo Directs close on remastered. So if they're announcing games of that caliber on Nintendo Today and then later posting it on social media, that tells me they have a different plan moving forward for Nintendo Directs. Is that one Direct in February, the summer months will be Nintendo Today updates, and then we get another one in September, like another general Nintendo Direct. How do partner showcases factor into this? Will we see a scenario where maybe we only get like a big September Direct moving forward, and then February is a partner showcase, and then June are Nintendo Today updates? Maybe there'll be no pattern at all. Maybe they'll just do whatever the hell they want every single year, changing it up. I mean, like I said, this is the only year aside from 2020 that hasn't had some sort of general multi-game showcase for Nintendo fans. We've had the partner showcase in 2022, which was a pretty good partner showcase, but usually it's a full general Nintendo Direct. This is the first year that hasn't happened, aside from the year with COVID. But also, they had the launch of an entire new generation, so maybe that's a reason they didn't want to do a Direct, but then also they're announcing all these things on Nintendo Today, so I don't know if that really is the reason. Regardless, even without a June Nintendo Direct, I'm not really, like, down in the dumps because, well, first of all, I'm still playing the heck out of Mario Kart World, personally. I know some people are kind of done with it at this point. They're ready for Bonanza. They're ready for the next wave of announcements from Nintendo. But for me, I'm occupied with Mario Kart, still playing some other third-party stuff like Bravely Default and Rhino, which just came out. But I did see someone make a good point. Between the release of this Tamagotchi Plaza game on Switch 2 and I think Tony Hawk, there's like a 15-day gap with no new Switch 2 games at all. That's not exactly ideal. I know I'm in the minority in that I play basically everything. I'm excited as hell for Tony Hawk, and then, of course, there's Shadow Labyrinth and the Patapon remastered, and then Bonanza and the Mario Party content. So for me, July is extremely packed, and I'm already overloaded with the games from the launch of the console, but I'm not most people. I'm playing more than most people. So that big of a gap does feel a little weird, but maybe Nintendo's just like, well, we just released Mario Kart. They're getting this amazing 3D DK platformer at the in the middle of July, right? So maybe they're just like, well, who cares? They'll suck it up. I did want to cover this beat 'em ups rumor at the end of the video. This is a couple of days old at this point. I didn't upload over the weekends. I didn't feel it was worth making its own video, honestly, because I just don't believe it, but I wanted to cover it because everybody was kind of talking about it for a little bit there. As far as I'm aware, beat 'em ups is not someone who has ever really been like a leaker. He's never tried to claim to have information, but on a recent episode of his podcast, he said, this is a leak, this is like information he had heard, and he said there will be a Nintendo Direct in July. However, the things that he said would be in here, to me, these are so specific that I just don't know if I believe that one person would have all of this information. Maybe it's all coming from multiple sources. I'm not entirely sure. But here's what he said he has heard would be in a July Nintendo Direct. He said Metaphor ReFantazio would be announced for Switch 2. It's a very easy thing to predict. I think we're all in agreement that game will come to Switch 2. Whether or not it's this year or next remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. GameCube Shadow Drop being Pokemon Colosseum. That one's really weird because we are getting a Pokemon Presents in July. So I wonder if that could happen, just not at a July Nintendo Direct, but at the Pokemon Presents. I feel like that's actually pretty likely, if anything. Death Stranding Director's Cut S. I actually think this is also a pretty safe bet. The game came to Xbox. 505 has publishing rights to it on multiple platforms, so Death Stranding is going to come to Switch too. I wonder if they would want to do it so close to Death Stranding 2, but regardless, I do think this will happen. Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. Yeah, I mean, CD Projekt Red is big, right? They have their team doing Cyberpunk right now. They're working on Witcher 4. Who's to say they don't have a small team right now doing Witcher 3 for Switch 2 that could come out later this year? I think that's very plausible. Same thing with Metroid Prime 4 release date. I mean, yeah, we're going to see a Metroid Prime 4 release date within the next couple of weeks, I imagine. And if that doesn't happen, well, I think that's bad news for that game. And then he says the One More Thing teaser is Isabelle for Animal Crossing coming in 2026, which is certainly the biggest thing in this league. Everything else he said here is pretty safe in my opinion. The only real spicy thing is Animal Crossing. I think this is a reasonable Nintendo Direct. I think Animal Crossing could be announced in the next couple of weeks. I think that's totally possible. However, this specific group of information, a third-party Japanese game, Death Stranding from 505 and Kojima, of course, Witcher 3, Prime 4 release dates, a GameCube Shadow Drop for NSO, but then also a teaser for a new Animal Crossing game. I just don't think that one person would have all of this. That would be some like next level leaking. Beat 'em Ups is someone who has never claimed to have sources before, and then now out of nowhere he's saying he knows about all of this, all of these very sporadic things. That just doesn't add up to me. This is like a list of things that Puro would leak all back to back, having seen the back end of the eShop, knowing what's going to be in a Nintendo Direct. Otherwise, I don't know how you would possibly know about this one in particular, Pokemon Colosseum. Why would you know that weeks in advance? It just doesn't really add up to me, but I wanted to cover it because a lot of people were talking about it. Is it possible there's a Direct in July? Sure. They don't really do them in July, but Nintendo, they can do whatever they want. I just am kind of more reserving myself to the idea that we're looking at Nintendo Today updates for the foreseeable future. Once we get to like late August, early September, I think we can really start talking about a general Nintendo Direct again, but maybe I'll be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I hope they package all of these things in a Nintendo Direct instead of doing Nintendo Today updates. I will say, and this will certainly sound like cope because it is, Splatoon Raiders was announced on exactly the 11-year anniversary of Splatoon 1's reveal, and it was also accompanied by the Splatoon 3 Switch 2 update, so I feel like that was more just like a standalone thing for Splatoon fans. They wanted to just have a nice little tease for a new project there. And then Dragon Drive, I mean, it's not even really a content trailer. It's just, hey, it's coming out in August. So while I think it is clear they are going for Nintendo Today this summer in terms of how they share information with us, I still don't really think those two things completely discredit the possibility of a Nintendo Direct. I think it's unlikely, but we could get a Nintendo Direct that has more Splatoon Raiders that tells us what the game is, but also a Nintendo Direct that shows us what Dragon Drive is on top of all the other things. So we'll see what happens. I'm not exactly optimistic, but either way, I do think we're going to see that Prime 4 release date, that announcement of Yoshi, a Kirby Air Riders trailer, Hyrule Warriors. Like, we're going to see these things over the summer. It really just comes down to how they want to present it. But I've been rambling for a while now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think we are getting a Nintendo Direct in the very near future, or do you think they'll continue dropping release dates on the Nintendo Today app, or maybe you think there will be nothing at all for the rest of the summer? I'd love to hear what you think down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 news, coverage, reviews, all that fun stuff. Well, for reviews, you might want to go over to my second channel, It's Amiibo. I posted my Welcome Tour review, my Switch 2 console review, and in the coming days, I will have my Mario Kart World review. Now that I have 100% of the game, yes, I have 100%ed the free roam, gotten all the Peach switches, Peach medallions, gotten all the characters. I am done with that game, except for the multiplayer, of course, and I'll be playing it for years to come. So stay tuned for my review on Mario Kart World after spending a lot of time with it. And until next time, folks, peace.